Hi there! So this is the first introduction video of the not unlike modular CV polymorpher model cardOC, and I will just show you the input section, the trigger section, and the output section. If you are familiar with the ornaments in crime, you probably know what the card can do, and in this case we use it together with the Model 208 easel, and we're not using any wires because the idea was that when we made this one we would like to introduce something new, basically something semi-modular, so you can start with that thing right away, just plop it in the easel and off we go. Alright, so the first application I would like to show is the dual sequencer, and in the sequencer we're having 4 outputs here that are hardware mapped in the easel card. The first one down here is called keys. That one controls the pitch. This one is called shape. This one controls the wave shape of the second oscillator. And then we also have our 2 LPGs, and both LPGs are also hardwired here. Additionally, we have trim pods, and they control the amount of voltage is being sent out to the card bus. So I will now start by just making a simple sequence, and you can see what it will do. So we need to send a trigger to the cardOC, and we're doing that by using one of 4 trigger modes. The triggers that we have at this point is the pulser. So we have every time the pulse pulses, we're getting a trigger. That is this switch. If this one is off, nothing will happen. If this is on, we will get 1 pulse here. The next switch is sequencer 1, sequencer 3, and sequence X. That means that you either get the first step or the third one, or on X you get a selection. And these triggers can be adjusted and selected in the sequencer or any other application. So in our case right now, the trigger is set to 1, which means we're getting pulse. So we are getting every pulse that comes in, and that will start the sequencer. Alright, so now every time we're getting a trigger pulse here, we're having a trigger pulse on our sequencer number 1. Sequencer number 2 right now is set to trigger 3. But trigger 3, so 1, 2, 3, that's the third one, all the switches are off, so nothing will happen. So we have to enable one of these, for example 1. That means that when one of the switches is up, the other sequencer is getting triggered by only that one. Okay, so let's dial in just some simple notes. Alright, so now we have a pretty easy sequence going on. And the first sequencer's pitch is driving both oscillators. If we want to change the sound a little bit, what we will do is we go out here, go to the other sequencer, and in here, when we dial in some information, what this is doing, maybe a little much. So this one opens the shape control. So right now the shape is set to pulse, and this is basically the same as doing like that. And the last thing I would like to show right now, we are in AD mode, So we're getting very, very short triggers. We can also make them longer, so we get much nicer and softer tones. Let's take that down to the more crisp ones. And let's do one more thing. If you move this switch to the left, you're getting into the CV select configuration menu. And at this point, what I would like to do is I would like to set my transpose CV. So you click on this and you can set where it should go. So I actually like it on CV1, so I select that one. And what that means is that the source on this side can now transpose the sequence. So with just some small fader movements here, you can completely change your sequence from what you had. Alright, stay tuned, we go to the input section in the next video. This concludes the first intro video, just the sequencer of the cardOC.